far wave of ballistic missiles from Iran was earlier this morning or sometime in the morning. They are expected, according to Israeli sources, to resume firing ballistic missiles at Israeli civilians this evening. But yeah, what hasn't paused is Israel's constant bombardment of a bunch of places in Iran. It's difficult for us to keep up, but we'll tell you at least some of it. Israel is just doing fantastic things in Iran. I know I keep saying this, and I'll keep saying this on at least two shows a day in the coming days. We're hearing more oil refineries that are being attacked, and uh, obviously rocket launchers or missile launchers are the top priority in the sense of they are an immediate threat after removing the air defense systems. You know, this is the immediate threat. You want to make sure the pilots in Iranian sky are free to fly around and do what needs to be done, and you want to make sure Israeli civilians are safe, and even if this war continues for a while, that life in Israel can go back fully to normal, and we can see the kind of scenes that we saw yesterday in our 7-hour live stream when the war started, when early in the morning in Israel, Eyal joined us from the balcony. We saw, blue sky. We heard birds chirping while Iran was being bombarded as should be. Welcome to the second daily objective of the day. Yeah, today there are probably going to be only two, but we might have more as the need increases. I'm joined by Michael Kaufman and Iyar Reichel. Iyar is in Israel, so I'm going to go to you first for any update that you have for us from there.
Well, I just want to say I'm very glad we moved on to attack targets with more of an economic nature. I think we have also attacked some gas fields, natural gas fields, which is very important because the Iranian economy and industry, including the nuclear industry, is very reliant on this energy source. I have also seen the news about the consulate of Croatia in Israel and his wife that has been lightly injured during the Iranian attack. And I think Croatian diplomats are, of course, how do you say it, condoning the Iranian attacks, uh, which is good in the diplomatic sense. A little bit of, news from here and there. I look around here on my monitor on news and updates throughout the show. That's pretty much it for my end. I also have the impression that the Iranian ballistic missile attacks, which are the most effective attacks and the one that is the most routine changing, will usually occur at nighttime because the process to launch a ballistic missiles involves in hanging out around and doing preparation and stuff. And the Iranians are just worried that they'll be recognized by Israel since we have aerial superiority in Iran. So the pattern is they will attack when it's dark in Iran, which is basically the same time as the night in Israel. So it's a sense of relief during daytime. And when the sun is out, you can do your thing and get ready and everything. So it's a little bit of a comfort. So
Yeah, there's something very appropriate about the Iranians having to do this in the night, like the bandits that they are. And yeah, hopefully there aren't many more such nights. Israel is bombing those missile launchers. Anytime missiles are fired, that is news for Israel on as to where to bomb first. And yeah, according to reports that I've read, they have 2,000 more ballistic missiles left, or that is the estimate in Israel. But of course, if you have no launchers, you can have millions of missiles. It doesn't really help you. Michael, what are you hearing from Israel, and what are your thoughts on where we are at this point in the war?
Well, I'll reiterate what you said, Rosie. We've certainly spent a lot of time on this show in the past year and a half uh, really shocked at the, frankly, what we felt was a mild to moderate response of Israel to Gaza, and largely to Hezbollah, and certainly to the Houthis. If anything, to the Houthis, it was almost not worth doing what they did because it has had zero impact. That said, this attack on Iran is the way I think future wars are going to be fought. I mean, this was a multi-pronged, multi-strategic, remarkable attack by the IDF, the Mossad, and probably a lot of other things that we don't even know about. It is truly astonishing what Israel was able to accomplish. Talk about shock and awe. I mean, the last time we had shock and awe was when America went into Iraq, and that was a much easier army to defeat. And it was, best as I could tell, it wasn't very subtle. I mean, it was shock and awe in the sense we sent a lot of airplanes in and dropped a lot of bombs. And by the way, there was no issue of how many civilians we killed back then because it was the U.S. doing it, not Israel. Here, it was shock and awe from every sense of the world, and I think the psychological damage. Of course, we wiped out most of the commanders across the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. And a lot of the other commanders, but it was really beautiful. So I think we should all keep applauding Israel for what is an astonishing operation to date. The other thing I would add to what's going on now is that it is quite a lot of discussion now that Israel has obtained essentially complete air superiority across Western Iran and all the way to Tehran, which seems to give Israel, it's almost like having a commercial situation where you basically are free to fly all around. So Netanyahu is just saying that that the people of Tehran would be able to see Israeli airplanes soon flying around their skies, and that has got to help catalyze things. Things being, let's face it, we need a regime change. I mean, all this hooey, when politicians tell you they're not looking for something, they're lying. And when they all say we don't really want regime change, we just want the Ayatollahs to stop wanting to annihilate Israel, that's like saying we just want a cancer cell to stop attacking the host and start behaving and being good. I mean, these are cancers and they need to be eradicated. And nothing that you do to those cancers, short of killing them, is going to save the host. So I'm thrilled about that. I think one other thing we should probably touch on today is whether, in fact, the Iranian leadership that is left has actually left Iran, because there's some rumors about that as well.
All right, I haven't seen those, but yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. And yeah, there's something, one thing we've been criticizing Israel for a lot is letting people know before they, before Israel bombs in Gaza, if there are terrorists in a building, but also non-terrorists or supposed non-terrorists, Israel informs them in advance. They inform the Houthis we're gonna bomb, the port. Get out, so the port is destroyed, but people are safe. There's something about you're about to see planes in Tehran that I like because it does say, look at how confident we are about our air superiority in Iran. Like we have nothing to worry about. We can fly around just to make global warming happen sooner, just for fun. And yeah, I love that. Deborah says in the chat, so you can go about your day, about your life during the day and stay close to the mamad at night. The shelter. Israelis are so adaptable to situations most would find impossible. Yes, and that of course is a sad fact, but it's something that is nothing has come closer to making that a thing of the past than what Israel has done over the last day and a half. So yeah, some uncomfortable days, hopefully not many, will lead to a much more peaceful situation in the long run. And I was watching Israeli television earlier, and they had a reporter going around to some pub that was open and people are sitting outside and drinking and having fun. And I'm always mixed about that. In a sense, yeah, you don't want to stop your life for an emergency situation that has been going on since the country was founded, basically. But on the other hand, um, it is dangerous. So yeah, people stay safe. It'll soon be over. And yeah, and you know, of course, like the fact that only, three people were killed last night is no consolation, to their loved ones. And but considering what, not just what would have happened if this war happened on Iran's timeline, but what Israel assumed probably was going to happen anyway. And certainly what would have happened if Israel had not started the way it did. Uh, this is a surprisingly low number, and let's very much hope that that is also what we see if we see any more missiles come in. Yeah.
I've seen another report today by Israel Hayom newspaper, and they say that Iran basically contacted Qatar and Oman, and they saying we are ready to restart negotiation as soon as Israel would stop attacking us. And I've also seen a response from an American diplomat saying, basically telling Iran they can go like look for your friends, like bite me situation, like what are you talking about? So that's very good news for me. The United States is slowly and safely getting by our side, as it seems, and this is it's very important in the wide context of the situation.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm now looking at those reports, Michael, that you mentioned that there's some speculation that maybe they're definitely on the run. They're not, the president is not in the presidential palace. I can guarantee you that. Wherever he is, even if it's in Tehran, he's not going to be easy to find. Although it looks like Israel can find those who are not easy to find as well. But yeah, at least according to this report, there's chaos in the streets, and the fact that so many right at the start of this war, so many so high up were killed means that hopefully Iranians who can move Iran in the right direction are motivated to do so in the coming days. Um, yeah, I saw a couple of things. So, Vladimir Putin condemned Israel's attack on Iran and has offered to mediate as well. So, yeah, he fully understands the assignment. Qatar, is mediating the Hamas negotiations. Why not, take a side? And we know Putin doesn't have to condemn these attacks for us to know which side he's on. But yeah, take a side and then offer to mediate. That's how it goes. As long as you're on the side of evil, you can be a mediator. And yeah, China has said that the attack on Iran is a dangerous precedent. And I often see these. I see people who are in China, taking pictures of like bad translations into English for tourists. And I think whoever said this does not understand what the word precedent means, because Israel already did this in Iraq and did this in Syria. This is not a precedent. The precedent is kind of that this was spread out in different places, and Israel had to work harder to plan this. But no, this is not the first time Israel saves the world from evil regimes trying to get nuclear bombs. And of course, it's not the first time that it's condemned for doing so, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, it's the usual. I think Gutierrez from the amazing United Nations also condemned the attacks and was very concerned about everything, as he always is. I mean, the guy wakes up in the morning concerned and he goes to sleep concerned, and it's terrific. His concern for what Israel does is, of course, completely disproportional to the population of the people affected. But this seems to be the majority of his concern. Tim Waltz, I mentioned earlier today on one of the shows you guys had. Tim Waltz, the former vice presidential candidate and the governor of Minnesota, who is really possibly one of the most corrupt, morally bankrupt people I know, suggested that maybe an unbiased actor like China could step in and negotiate. I think he might suggest that Putin would be a reasonable choice. Look, Putin has a lot of experience with this kind of thing because Putin's fighting a war against Ukraine. And he's really very good at not doing anything in the negotiations. And also, obviously, he stands for the aggressive, evil regime, in this case, Russia, that's decided that it needs to reclaim Ukraine. So it's just a upside down crap. I do hope that after this, as this begins to clear and hopefully the regime is gone and Iran gets a chance to come back, and maybe you're right, Razi, maybe in a couple of years we'll be able to do a show from Tehran. Seriously, because it's Persian culture is amazing and Persian food's amazing, and I think the vast majority of the Persian people are amazing. And the women won't have to be covered up unless they want to, which is fine if you want to be covered up. But when this is all clearing, maybe we will start to see some of the bad actors across the world, like Gutierrez and so on, be dismissed and move on. And we can start to get some people that have a bit of a moral compass that points north instead of deep south.
Yeah. Thank you, Bonnie, for the super chat. Thank you, PC, for the super chat. PC asks the tough questions. Why does Iran still have an embassy here? I don't know. I don't support this government, but Iran had an embassy here under the previous government. Yeah, Britain remains on the wrong side of things. There's something about this whole idea that, I mean, the mediator for the U.S.-Iran negotiations was Oman. Like, all mediators seem to be between free countries and dictatorships are dictators. They're always dictators. Nobody's thinking, let's have a non-dictatorship mediate, which tells you something. Once you get to the point where you say, okay, there's an evil dictatorship with plans to annihilate free people, let's negotiate and find a middle ground between that and the free people living, then, why not have another dictatorship mediate?
I think Israel should offer Iran that the United States would be a mediator between Israel and Iran. Let's see how they respond to that. And also regarding the comparison to, or like the statement of a president, I think this war with Iran is way more similar to the Six-Day War rather than our attack against Iraqi or other nuclear facilities. And unlike the Six-Day War, in which we could have take over Cairo and we could have take over Damascus and we didn't. I think in this war against Iran there is a chance for a way bigger victory and achievement for the free world, which is a regime change. This is very important, and I have a lot of when I look back, it's very a feeling of like we missed an opportunity because back in the Six-Day War we didn't force Egypt and Syria to have a regime change from a dictatorship to a country with stable constitution like the United States did to Japan and Germany. That should have been done, and we didn't do it because we didn't have enough pride and courage. But now there is an opportunity because the people of Iran are looking for an opportunity, and we're giving it to them. And we're doing what it takes, and we're doing a good job. And I want to shout out for our brave Mossad agents and pilots and military personnel who are working very hard and have been working for decades, getting ready for this moment. So this is a very good time, a very thrilling time, even with all the risk and everything that's going on, and it's not easy. And I'm relatively in a very comfortable conditions, unlike other people. Yet this is a very positive direction. It's a very good investment. Let's put it this way.
Yeah. Another good investment is super chats on the Daily Objective. Thank you, Alexis, for the super chat. Alexis says, great coverage, guys. And thank you, Break Yourself, for the super chat. Break Yourself says, for the Greater Israel Fund, please tell the elders I did my part. We will mention it in the next meeting of the Council of Jews. This is not directly about what's happening in Iran, but there is an interesting video. So we saw Greta's ship to Gaza, but there is also the March to Gaza, March to Rafah. I don't follow the names of all this stuff. This is an interesting one because it didn't start from a free country and go through the sea. It started from a dictatorship, went to another dictatorship, was going to, yeah, March to Gaza, Daniel tells me, went through a third dictatorship on its way to fight against a free country. Let's see what happened today or yesterday in in actually the last of these dictatorships. These are the brave Westerners who are standing up to Israel. Let's see.
البوليس جابوا بلطجيين، ها هما جابوهم من مصر، خلصوهم. شوفوا اش يديروا هادو المتعاطفين مع فلسطين. شوفوا هادو اش يديروا، شوفوا هجموا علينا بالتشيوات وبالهراوات، تيسكوا علينا. شوفوا اش يديروا، شوفوا الاخرين كلشي مسالك. شوفوا هادو اش يديروا، جابوهم باش يبقاو يسكوا علينا. انتما شوفوا شوها عباد الله. هادشي تبارطاجا كلشي. حنا راه باقيين هنايا، تقتلونا غندخلو فلسطين باش ما بغيتو. اشوف ديروا اللي بغيتو. انتما شوفوا شحال جابوا، شحال جابوا كاع هادو المصريين جابوهم الكيران. ها هما الكيران وخلصوهم على اساس انهم يتعداو على هاد الناس اللي جاو باش يقولوا الحريه لغزه والحريه لفلسطين. شو تحيا غزه، تحيا غزه. شوفوا هادشي، شوفوا حنا الحمد لله معنا ربي، ومعنا ربي ما غاديش نخافوا، معنا الله تعالى ولله الحمد. هانتوما شوفوا.
Okay, I have to say we didn't have to watch the whole video to get the point. I just kind of enjoyed it. Not that I think there are good guys there. Again, when savages fight savages, that doesn't mean that one side is good or better than the other. It is, to me, entertaining considering what the people on this march, who they are, what they stand for. And yeah, by the way, apologies for the language in that video. I don't know if it was swearing, just the language sounded kind of savage on its own right. But yeah, Michael, what do you make of that? That pilgrimage that hit a roadblock on the way?
Well, it's the whole thing's laughable. I mean, the theater that's going on and these people who pretend that they're some righteous cause. This isn't the Vietnam War protests, where even if you didn't agree with the protesters, at least they said America's not fighting this war properly. Too many of our boys are getting killed. We ended up with 50,000 plus people, Americans dead over nothing, over essentially, losing the war and not doing anything very well. There's not even a little bit of goodness on either side here. Like you said, when we've got two sets of barbarians fighting each other, it's ridiculous theater. It's a shame we spend time, we do have to, talking about it. I mean, it's also very ironic, of course, that you have this situation. But let's just all remember, neither Egypt nor Jordan nor any other of the Arab countries want to take the Palestinians in. They refuse to, and it's the same kind of a situation. Nobody wants the Palestinians. The so-called our brothers don't want the Palestinians. And by the way, you're not seeing any of the supporters of all the people that received all the money and munitions from Iran, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Gaza. You don't see them jumping up and down screaming to support Iran right now. These people are all hateful, all sides of this, and they have no place in a civilized society. There's not probably anybody in either side of that camp who has ever thought about how do we foster human flourishing and what can I do to have a good job, employ more people, and raise a family in a safe, peaceful environment and create value and like I said, flourishing for my community. There's none of that. What's remarkable, last point to me, is the utter stupidity, especially of young Westerners, to take for granted how difficult it is to maintain a Western society where people actually behave in a civilized fashion. And not only do they behave that way, but they actually want to. And they foster that. And they just want to be left alone to do their job and raise their family and enjoy their weekends. There is none of this amongst these two groups of people. They are full of hate. They are full of theater. They are behaving like children. And frankly, if there weren't people working around them, paying taxes and actually providing the everyday needs of living, these people would all starve to death. That's how corrupt this entire thing is, in my opinion.
Yeah, these are not, people who are kind of struggling in life, and they're probably well-off Westerners with not just well-off, but with financial support probably for this specific cause, because people support causes in a very suicidal way in the West, like the worst possible causes. We didn't see it in this video, but in one of the videos I saw, there was a subtitle from I think one of the people on the march saying, although I didn't hear them say this, I'm ready to die for this cause. And I'm like, okay, you've internalized jihadism, even if you're not Muslim. And another thing that was also not in this video, by the way, Daniel, if you can get us another one of those videos, why not? Where they chant "shame on you." Some chants maybe sometimes work, in a Western university, when you chant them at cops and then people show this and then somebody retweets it. It doesn't really work in a savage dictatorship where you are, and by the way, the people fighting against them are not fighting against them because they support Israel. They're fighting against them because they don't like this crap, moving through their country. They don't necessarily want something better, but they don't appreciate it.
Well, I think it's not very accurate to say they're not struggling. Those people obviously experiencing an immense self-struggle. They are completely in conflict with themselves. And there is something amazing about these people that is so second-handed and are so used to get moral sanction from their surroundings. And they just think this is like their state, metaphysical state of being right, that they go to Egypt and expect to be treated in the same pathetic way that they're used to. And then, of course, they have to experience the true results of their stupidity, going to such a barbaric place and having to experience the humiliation they're getting over there. The Egyptians took their passports and are basically holding them there. I think finally Greta's wishes has come true, and some Westerners have been taken hostage over there. So it's like completely insane. I think there is a YouTube channel called Internet Historian, which makes foolish documentaries that are very entertaining on such situation. I think he should cover this affair because it will be hilarious. And I just like, this is just crazy. I think the Western world has come to such level of absurdity. It is just unbelievable. It's just like, if I wouldn't have seen the videos, it would have been hard to believe. It's just crazy. It's insane. And those people, they need to go to a therapist that has some good understanding in philosophy to help them get a grip of reality.
Yeah, I accept the correction. They're not struggling in the only way that they claim matters, which is materially. But yeah, by the way, I saw, I think it was Jeff Bannister, who's sometimes here in the chat, share somebody wrote that Greta is the first hostage in history where the only demand of the kidnappers is that she go away. Which I thought was pretty funny and accurate. Yeah, the fact that, well, that she's in a sense she's the gift that keeps on giving, at least content wise here for us on the channel. Um, yeah, Michael, any additional thoughts before we see another video that Daniel has lined up for us?
Well, I like what AR said. I agree. And one of the problems in the Western world, at least our part of the Western world, is finding a therapist that has a moral philosophy is almost, it's not quite, but it's almost a complete contradiction in terms. And it's a huge problem. It stems from the complete moral bankruptcy, almost complete moral bankruptcy of the humanities across most of America. There are blossoming, beautiful flowers blossoming out of the weeds that have grown up throughout our the complete disgustingness that has happened here. Places like Austin, Texas, even, which is a relatively center-leaning part of Texas, and places in Florida and other parts of Texas and other red states in particular, the ones that are more centrist, are trying to establish universities and curricula that are much more Western-based life, liberty, pursuit of happiness kind of curricula. And that extends to all the humanities, including psychology and sociology. And frankly, until we start teaching our humanities people that 1 + 1 is always 2 and will always be 2, and no matter how much you wish it wasn't 2, it's still going to be 2. We are going to
trying to get us canceled?
Sorry?
Are you trying to get this channel canceled by saying controversial things? You know,
Things
Matt
like-
is a white supremacist.
Yeah, no, it's very bad. Yeah, we have that problem also in medicine that, you can hope that somebody's blood pressure is lower, but if it gets too high, their brains will explode. And no matter how much you hope it doesn't, it turns out it doesn't really matter what you think. Anyway, to stop being too facetious for a moment, I think this is a real problem, that our kids have been indoctrinated to a complete and total fantasy land of feelings and hopes, and they're living in another planet, and we really need to attack that, which is why we have channels like this, and of course why we all have Ayn Rand behind us. You can't see mine, but that's why we need to go back to objectivism, because reality always wins.
Yeah, and I agree. There's interesting things happening in specifically in Austin. Lots of interesting things. I wouldn't call it a centrist city. It's a very left-wing city, but there is some sort of there's a marketplace of ideas in Austin that I think is flourishing.
But that's centrist compared to a marketplace of ideas is centrist compared
Yes,
to
true.
Well,
Politically, I think it's still
yeah.
of the left.
Yeah,
But
in
yeah.
Massachusetts, we don't have any marketplace of ideas. We have one set of ideas in one aisle.
I can't not use that as a segue to say there is going to be a marketplace of ideas in Massachusetts on July 1st when the Ayn Rand Center UK has our event there with you, Michael, with me as well, with Jonathan Honig, Jim Brown, live on stage, the Daily Objective, the reality show, and more. So make sure you sign up. There is a link in the chat and in the description. Until then, let's enjoy some more. Let's enjoy another video from Egypt.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! We won't be silent. Stop them.
They're enjoying themselves. By the way, I don't think that those were not the Columbia University police over there. So that doesn't look like the kind of people you want to mess with. In a way, then again, like why you don't go if you're a rational person, you avoid places like Egypt. I think in general, at least I very much do not see myself going there. Definitely not to protest, but not on vacation either. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to continue with what you said. I'm thinking about the train of thought of like those people, their tendency of, yeah, let's go protest in a dictatorship. That will end up going well. Like completely disconnected from reality once again. And I would like to ask your crew behind the scene to look for the video about the guy trying to explain the Egyptians about how badly they need to let him go and help the people in Gaza. I think this one really reflects the state of mind of those people over there, how deluded they are and completely detached from reality. And it's just like, I have nothing to say on it. It just, I really, every time I see those videos, I'm just like completely baffled. Just crazy. Complete insanity.
Yeah, Daniel is working overtime behind the scenes to find more videos from Egypt. And in the meantime, thank you, Roland, for the super chat. Roland says, sending you 1 franc plus 1 franc, a total of 5,000. Yes, I would spend it on the products that these protesters produce, but I don't think that's a thing. Um, Michael.
Yeah, I've just been getting some updates on Ynet News, and is it if it's okay to switch a little bit gears, because watching two sets of idiots, a little bit like watching worldwide wrestling, which may be entertaining to some people, but
Super entertaining. But yeah.
yeah, but anybody who's civilized, first of all, as a doctor, if they did half the stuff, the people would be dead or paralyzed. And second of all, you got to love the sound effects when they stamp on the ground and it sounds like it's their body. Again, clearly not compatible with life. But moving on. I sent a note to you, all of us here. Just Macron in his usual amazing fashion with the complete moral equivalence between Iran and Israel. So the French president is speaking directly with President Masoud Pezeshkian of Iran, and said that in light of the significant risk of destabilization across the entire region, which we should talk about, I demanded that our assets and citizens in Iran and the region not be harmed in any way. I called for the maximum restraint to prevent escalation. I mean, the number of sentences here that are laughable, I think we should unpack all of this. Macron said that the Iran nuclear issue is a serious one, and that we can only be resolved through negotiations, as it has been resolved beautifully through negotiations since Barack Obama did such a good job negotiating this. He invited the president to quickly return to the negotiating table to reach an agreement, the only possible way to de-escalate the situation. Can we talk about some of this? Because this is the reason we're in this position, because we have so-called leaders in the West that are absolutely fatuous. I mean, the amount of hot air in this thing and moral bankruptcy and moral equivalence is shocking to me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with diplomatic language, it's always not it's basically saying not what you mean. And if Macron was going to be honest in his wording, it would be we demand that Israel snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. I mean, and as it has done before, as it did in Lebanon
Exactly.
with Hezbollah, as it is in a sense doing in Gaza throughout the entire war, because victory is easier to achieve in Gaza than anywhere else. But the way Israel is fighting in Gaza more than anywhere else is a way in which you cannot win. So yeah, and again with Macron, why are we this guy is talking about this while he's also talking about his upcoming summit to get a bunch of people to recognize a Palestinian state, led presumably by Mahmoud Abbas, who just a few days ago praised the October 7th attacks. So and all the while France is condemning Israel and is I don't remember if they're one of the countries that say they're going to arrest Netanyahu if he happens to land there, but I'm guessing they are. So yeah, let's get to this point, and I really hope we get to this point maybe immediately after the war, when these countries are the countries that stood on the side of evil, and the evil of the Iranian regime, the evil of Palestinianism, are really held to account in whatever way possible. The problem is we don't have anybody who's fully, any leader who's fully on board with Western values. But if, to the extent that Israel is, it can sway the US to the extent that they are against those countries, that needs to be done. We need a clear a clear dividing line. Decide which side you're on, France. Are you on the side of Islamism and theocracy and killing the Jews, or are you on the side of civilization? France is one of those countries where it's never really been a clear, it's never really taken a clear side, but it is becoming clearer now. Yeah.
I want to quote a recent tweet on X by Dr. Einat Wilf, and she writes as follows. People describe Israel as having a conflict with Iran or going to war as if we have a conflict over a border or territory or land. But the only real conflict we have with Iran is that their government regime says death to Israel, and we refuse to comply. This is
Yeah.
very important context, and this tweet shows well the hypocrisy and the dumbness of the criticism against Israel trying to defend itself from an insane regime, a regime that is even more insane than the woke people supporting it in the West.
Yeah. Thank you, PC, for the super chat. PC says, Razi, why is Macron so keen to do this? I don't get it. What's in it for him? And then PC later says, is Macron a closet Muslim? No, he's an out, I don't want to say is a bad person, and he's open about it, and that's why he's so keen to do this. And yeah, Michael, you just sent us some more stuff here. There's an Iranian report that production of 12 million cubic meters of gas has been temporarily stopped after the site was attacked by Israeli drones. This is according to Tasnim, the Iranian government news agency. And there is a headline from, I don't know how that happened, yeah, but oh, was that on purpose? It wasn't. It wasn't one of. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Zoom has these features that because sometimes I see people like doing things with their hands, and then there's like a thumbs up or a hand, So, but yeah, that was on purpose. Yeah, that is very good news. And 12 million cubic meters sounds like a good start.
Well, I like
And
the word temporarily. I guess that could mean weeks to months. I mean, they just put out a huge fire there, and it's good to have fires at fuel plants because obviously the fuel's on fire. They're lucky they didn't have more explosions than they already had. They clearly had them. But this notion that somehow this is a small setback and we'll have the fuel running, the gas will be running very shortly afterwards. It's like an outage during a storm, an electrical outage. It'll be back in 2 hours. I don't think so.
yeah, yeah, it's difficult to deal with as such, but also so many different places in Iran so many literal fires need to be put out that yeah, they're stretched thin and hopefully will be stretched thinner. And you sent another, I didn't click it, but the headline was Katz, the Israeli defense secretary, warns Tehran will burn if Iran keeps up its deadly missile attacks on civilians. And again, they said if you fire at civilians, we will start firing. We will start bombing your energy infrastructure, and they did. Hopefully, they'll keep doing that. And yes, Israel is Israeli threats are becoming more believable than they were. Right after October 7th, when Israel said to Egypt, if you send any fuel trucks into Gaza, we'll bomb them. A very very good statement that was followed up with Israel itself sending in whatever the Gazans needed. So yeah, more bad stuff coming to Iran, hopefully, again, until the regime itself collapses and not until enough Western leaders demand that Israel allow the U.S. to go back to the negotiating table by stopping this. Yeah, this should not stop until the regime is gone. Yeah.
Well, regarding Macron, I've heard a theory. I don't know how true it is, but it was sure entertaining to hear that France is a very big arms dealer. They export weapons to third world countries, and they really want to get the European market because there is a lot of money in selling weapons to Europe, and European market doesn't really want to buy the weapons. They did a little when the war with when Russia invaded Ukraine, and they found out the weapon systems are not as good. And people claim this is one of the reasons Macron pushes for a weapon embargo against Israel, because he is convinced that if the Europe will stop buying weapons from Israel, they buy weapons from him. So this is quite an entertaining theory. I don't know whether it's true or not, but it sure is entertaining. Regarding the rest, I'm waiting for Daniel to show the video of the guy begging for the Egyptians to let him into Gaza.
Well, I was gonna leave that kind of as a nice ending for the show. We can watch it and then discuss it. But before that, yeah, the France. I think back to the run up to the Iraq War, Michael, and whatever you think of the Iraq War, in the run up, the U.S. for some reason decided that they need the approval of the UN Security Council and went around begging all sorts of countries. Of course, they wanted a majority in the Security Council, but any one of the five permanent members can veto, and at least one, I think two maybe did.
China and Russia did, I believe. I mean, of course.
But you remember France
Yeah.
at that time was also running around trying to convince countries to vote against it under President Jacques Chirac. And yeah, when they went into Saddam's palace, it turned out Chirac had reason to not want everything. So yeah, France is this is not a first for France being on the wrong side of something.
Yeah, it's remarkable how bad they are. I think the other thing along the same lines is that apparently Israel did not apparently, thankfully, Israel did not share its attack plans with Britain, and the United States did not share Israel's attack plans or any of the United States's intelligence and monitoring and defensive capacity with Britain prior to the strike, which represents a huge departure from the usual very tight United States, United Kingdom agreements. And it's very clear that the UK is coming out on the wrong side of this again. Of course, anti-Semitism is rampant, not only in the UK, and in France, but in all of the UK disciple countries, which are Australia and Canada. You see beautiful anti-Semitism constantly. And it is truly remarkable how the people running these countries believe that supporting Islamic militants is going to lead to a better country in the future for them. It will hasten the conversion of these places to Sharia kind of law, and we've already seen pretty scary images from a lot of the cities in the UK and in other places. But it is shocking to me. Luckily, I think we have you can say all you want to about Trump, but he seems to understand, for whatever reason, he believes that America is great and Israel is also great, and they should stick together. And at least that, however little philosophy you think is under that, at least it provides a guiding post, I think, for the world.
Yeah, yeah, and I was between today's shows, I was talking to some people in Israel, and yeah, I would like to see a lot more from the U.S., but I know what we could have expected, and again, under Harris, this would have been I don't again, we don't need to imagine, because Israel had one of those little attacks in Iran last year that was leaked on purpose by the U.S. And then I remember, I don't remember if it was the attack itself or something else that Israel did, and the U.S. kind of complained that they weren't notified in advance after the previous time they leaked it on purpose and put Israelis in harm's way. So and Harris again, we would have missed Biden if Harris was president. So
no question about it. She is more anti-Semitic and more anti-Israel, and frankly more anti-Western than Biden. I mean, Joe Biden fundamentally, I think, is pro-America. Unclear to me if Kamala is pro anything, and gosh, nobody knows what she's thinking, because we only get word salad from her. We never get to the main course.
Well, she might be the next governor of California, and then maybe
Well, that might be an improvement compared to the idiot that they have running it.
it'll be a close call at the very least. But yeah, when the Biden administration proved itself to Israel, proved itself unworthy of being notified. They weren't notified, and the UK has absolutely proven itself untrustworthy. And yeah, so the UK saying we're not going to help defend Israel after, nobody asked you. Well, yeah, thanks for letting us know anyway.
I
Yeah,
think
one quick
Kamala.
follow-up. I just saw that now Keir Starmer, the head of British Prime Minister, says that his country is moving military assets and including fighter jets to the Middle East in order to, quote, provide support across the region. He didn't say who he's providing support to, but it's across the region. His office added that crews began to deploy as early as Friday morning when it became clear the situation in the Middle East was escalating. So here we are with a guy that, I mean, I assume, given that the US is aware of what he's doing, it would be a very interesting situation if he decided to support Iran here across the region, and we had US planes and British planes going against each other. I don't think that's what's happening, of course. So his provision of support across the region is probably because Trump called him up and said, "Get your ass in gear, or you're in deep caca." And he decided he better do something. But of course, he cannot say what he's actually doing, because supporting a Western democracy would be a heinous thing in the UK at this point.
Yeah, thank you, PC, for the super chat. PC says, Razi, it's support for Iran. I'm sure it's not. I
It's
did
not.
hear, Michael, what you just said. I heard it on Israeli television yesterday. Also, the commentators were saying, yeah, Britain isn't helping now, but if Trump insists, they will help. And that's the thing with Starmer. Starmer is not Corbyn in the sense that, Corbyn had an ideology. It was an evil one, but it was an ideology. Starmer is kind of he will stand where he thinks people want him to stand, and it depends on who the people are. And in this case, yeah, he if the US calls him in, he will do it, but he will do it as decisively as a statement like we are there for support, or whatever that was, without saying who you were supporting.
I just want to say, in regards to what we said previously about Kamala, I think Kamala is going, if she'll be elected, I think she's going to continue with Biden's legacy, and she can even surpass him. And by that I mean being even more incompetent than Biden. So that's for that. Also, I think the leak. So there was this leak about the Israeli plans for attacking Iran. I think eventually this ridiculous and shameful leak eventually helped Israel on its current attack in Iran, because in this leak it was stated that basically Israel is not going to attack Iran's oil and infrastructure, and it's going to be like a quite limited attack. So this, I think, helped lowering the expectations of Iran regarding Israel's capability and courage and approval from the state. So this actually did a good job in the fraud operation that was essential for Israel conducting a major successful attack against Iran. So that's eventually turned out to be a good thing in our interest.
Yeah, I will also say I now see the report of you mentioned the country, but in Israeli media they're saying 3 foreign diplomats were injured in the strike on the tower in Tel Aviv, where many foreign diplomats live. Foreign diplomats from Western countries, and 5 apartments were destroyed. Yeah, so the representatives of foreign countries are experiencing Islamism, and better than Israeli citizens. Trying to tone it down. That's as toned down as I could put it. Michael.
Yeah, nothing to add here. Right.
All right, should we watch Daniel? You said it's a long video. We don't need to watch a long video, but do you have the the specific part that Iyad mentioned, and can we see that?
The genocide of a people. Please, 4
وباغيينش
times I've been
معاكم
to
شي حاجة.
Palestine as a nurse.
كنحبوكم هذا
I
هو
paid for
المشكل
myself to
كنحبوكم
go.
ولكن ما بغيناش نديروا شي حاجة معاكم.
They are hearing me. This man is wearing a Palestinian ring. They are all Muslim.
ولادكم ولاد.
This is a genocide of a Muslim people by Zionists.
They can't hear you. They can't hear you. They're not
No,
hearing you. They can't hear you.
Il faut parler avec les autres.
Please.
سمحوا لنا.
They can't hear you. I'm sorry.
بيقول لكم في
ما باغيش ندافع معاكم.
في مذبحة ترتكب في حق الأطفال
I'm a nurse. I saw them shooting people in refugee camps.
They are waiting for orders and that's it.
I know.
They can't hear you.
But they don't have to follow the orders.
No, they are
They can
following.
allow us to stand
They
for
say they
Palestine.
are saying that they don't have choice. Like they don't
You
have
do
another
have a choice. You're humans. We're here for humanity. You are part of humanity. You are my brother. In Islam, you are my brother.
Are you Muslim?
Please,
All right. I think we get the point. Ew, disgusting. I can't take 5 minutes of that. But if somebody, if somebody finds it enjoyable, we can put the link.
I want to say I'm really impressed with the translator conveying the emotions. I think this is beautiful.
How do you know? Maybe do you speak Arabic? Maybe she's just making stuff up.
Listen, that's the point. There was no message. He was just being emotional. So even if the translator said completely different thing, he can read instructions from IKEA, as far as I'm concerned. He delivered the emotions. That's all that counts over there. That was all that's his epistemological base anyway. So
Yeah, we will keep monitoring news from Egypt to see if the Egyptian police are turning on their government and changing policy. But of course, seeing that, I can't help but think of this, Daniel. If we can see that again, this is going to be a regular feature on the channel as well.
Looks like they're just finishing up the
Why are you?
We're on your side! We're on your side! Holy shit! What? We're on your side! We're on your fucking side! What the fuck?
Yeah. It worked as well in the Black Lives Matter riots when people were shouting, "We're on your side," and the rioters didn't care. They're just there to break shit. They're not there to, actually. Yeah, the BLM terrorists, says Deeper with Diego. Absolutely. Yeah. And look, they helped set the groundworks for what we've seen during this war. Parting thoughts, Michael, and where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why anybody is ever surprised. Because these kids are too stupid to know. They're profoundly stupid. There's no other word for it, and we should all realize that just because you have an opinion doesn't give you the right to make policy. I mean, the notion that you can talk to someone who's fundamentally corrupt, and because you agree with them for the moment that they're going to embrace you is just idiocy. And it's the analogy I often use on the show is it's just like walking into a lion's cage and the lion is relaxed and he's sitting down and you're talking to the lion and everything is going well until the lion's neuron in his brain that says I'm hungry kicks in, and then the lion opens his mouth and kills you and then eats you. And that's exactly what these people are dealing with. When you are dealing with fundamentally people that are terrorists, you cannot expect any kind of consistency or loyalty or anything. It has nothing to do with that. It is purely about hate and destruction. And that's what these moronic kids don't understand, that they expect somehow the terrorists will be civilized as long as you agree with their terrorism, which is in itself a contradiction. Michael Kaufman, 2Fs, LinkedIn.
PC says, Razi, I declare I dislike Ireland very much. I agree with you, although this person is not an official representative of Ireland, but you know who is? The official representatives of Ireland, who say pretty much the same thing. So yeah, disliking at least Ireland as a country and in their official capacity at the moment is absolutely right. Yeah. Parting thoughts, and where can people find you?
My parting thought is a call for the Western world to use their eyes to look at reality and use their mind to understand it. Hopefully they'll use it as much as they can, because as of now it seems like they choose not to use it. And you can find me at www.victory.now. That's www.victory.now, where you can find my Substack, my Patreon, and the sign up for the book that is about to release soon regarding Israel, war, plan for victory, and moral basis.
My parting thought is we had, or it's a bit less now, but we had over 200 viewers. We had under 100 views. Yeah, this is how the terrorists win. And I'm Razi Ginsburg on X. We are back tomorrow at noon UK time and then 5:30 UK time. We may add a third show. I don't know, but we'll see. Maybe for sort of the later in the US. We'll see if it's needed. But for now, we have 2 shows a day in the coming days. And hopefully this war will end quickly and as decisively as possible. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow at noon.
Bye-bye.